Let her warm up a minute. And we'll see about tracking this down out of the driveway, because I don't think I'm going to have time to work on it. I did get the other set of teeth welded up. Straightened out that bracket for the bucket trip cable and made a new bushing and spacer for the one side that was all bent. Cut some new these rubber isolators. This is a conveyor skirt board. This is the highest diameter I could get, and they'll go like that in there. There's 4 of them. These ones are offset for these lower holes. And I have to turn some new bolts to go through these. The other ones, the threads galled and came all apart, but I got new nuts and I got some shaft. So, work on that. These links, they go from the dipper down to the bucket. I think I'm gonna just make new ones. A little wallowed out, but they're also bent. And as simple as a piece it is, I think I might just make them. I did notice these are, this is a little bit later model machine than some of the other ones I've looked at. And this is what they switched over to. And the earlier machine I saw, I have an older parts book, they actually have 3 holes here. This was like a, kind of looked like a steak. And there were 3 holes here, so you could adjust the bucket pitch depending on what kind of material you were digging into. And I guess they did away with that. So I'll make them the same way this was. And monkeyed around with the controls a little bit more, just trying to get everything a little more freed up. These are the 2 dipper racks that welded up. I got them spaced apart like they're supposed to be. I checked the pinion gears on the shipper shaft. I got 21.5 inches from center to center. And then I tacked some bushings up at the end there. Gonna weld them in. I took the squares and I got both racks square to each other. Teeth are lined up. So now I'm gonna pull them off and fully weld those bushings. Now I said earlier I was going to replace these, but for right now I think I'm just going to put them back in I straightened them out in the 75-ton press. So they're pretty decent now. But for the time being, they're going back in. I want to dig. Really want to dig with this thing. So it'll be easier. I can use this for a little bit and then I can pop these off anytime. I might go with the earlier style and make those. So I have 3 different positions for the bucket angle. But that's where I'm at right now. And then worked on this a little bit. Tried to straighten that out in the press. There's some cracks in it, so I welded what I could up. This goes between the dipper arms, and those blocks of rubber go on the outside. And then I believe there's a couple shims too. So I get these bushings welded in, I can throw this in, and then that'll be done for the dipper. So I'm a little proud of this. This is my first real thread on a part. This is 1.5 inch 12 pitch. Fits real good. No wobble to it. This is going to be one of the pins for the front shovel. This is the jam nut. See if I can do this one-handed. Left-handed at that. Maybe not. There it goes. This is done on a 1918 Reed Prentice gearhead 14-inch lathe. This is a new tool post. See, nice and tight. First thread. Got this back together. So other than adjusting the trip chain, this is done for now. Working on the shipper shaft now. Got this big nut and washer off. And I'm going to pick this end up with the excavator. look like it's been greased in a while. Do the same to the other side. It's got a little bit more to it. This is where the bucket trip cable anchors and feeds through this sheave here. See, this is a little bent up. Gotta straighten that. That block there is broken. See what I'll do about that once I get it apart. So here, I guess I should do a voiceover. These are the wear blocks. Had to build them up. This one was cracked. I just welded it back together and built it back up. And this next photo, this is the finished product. Then these side pieces of the shipper shaft had quite a bit of wear. I had to build them up. Kind of did my best guess with it held against the gear rack. See, I've got quite a good gap there. And this actually wore down into the bushings too. You can see here at the bottom of the picture how much material's gone. This is one I built up, ground down again, pushing the old bushing out. And then that's one that's already completed. This will be a new bushing for the center of the shipper shaft. I cut grease grooves in the best I could. Test fitting it on the shaft. And then this is pressing it into the sides there, checking the grease fittings. New bushing versus the old bushing. Again, checking the grease on that. This is a plate I cut to weld up the pinion gears. And this is a built up pinion with it assembled. And here's a fully assembled piece. The boom tip, I had to bore out all the sheaves. Here's the shaft. Looks like maybe some grit got in there. It's another shaft with some wear on it. Now bore them out and then push in a new bushing. Oilite bronze. Next you'll see the machining I did. So this is the boom hoist sheave. some galling, so we're going to bore it out and put this bushing in it. So here I'm pulling the boom off. Got it laying on the ground. So somebody had torched the tip of the boom out. So I figure I'll just weld a new piece of plate in. Well, I ended up having to torch some of it out again after I welded it back in to get the sheaves back in it. And this is a bumper here I rebuilt for the bucket. I figure I'm a rookie, I'll probably bump it a few times. Then I made some new boom pins. Here's the keeper I cut on the plasma table. And then here you can see the pins with the new keepers installed. And then I was missing this bottom sheave, and I found this in Ohio from another machine. Then up here we have the gantry pulley for the boom hoist. That was bent. Straightened that out with that excavator and that big pin. And then the A-frame was bent on one side, so I straightened that out too. Looks like maybe they might have twisted something and had the dipper hit the cab and everything, twist everything. Then here's the boom that's primed, painted it. I was painting everything as I was putting it together, but after torching the boom tip apart, I figure I might as well just wait till the end. So then I'm putting the shipper shaft back together. New bolts. And there's the boom hanging in the air again. It's really handy to have another machine help pick all this stuff. Now I'm ready to put the dipper in. There's the cable length. And then reeving diagram. And there's how the boom hoist is terminated. Spool of cable. Everything was ready to go here except for the bucket trip. I still had to work on that. I'll show you that later in this video. Then here's a little quick test run. So here's relining the other booster band. I do have another video I could link in the top right. So I did the other side last year. I sandblast them, paint them, then install new lining. Pretty easy to do. So on this bucket trip motor, it doesn't spin continuously. It's got this nub on it that hits this rubber stop down here. So it's only got that much travel to it, so not even a full revolution. Here's the old bucket trip button. Somebody put a horn button on it. I switched it over to the switch in the swing handle the way it's supposed to be. No bucket teeth. And no, I'm putting new bucket teeth on it. Then the house lock was broken, shaft was bent, and the plate mounted to the house was broken. So I had to take it apart. You can see how tweaked it is. There's the shaft that goes up to the lever. And the pin, that was a pain to get out. I must have spent hours beating on that thing. There's the crack in the lock itself. And then here it is put back together. I'm still having some issues with it though. Then the track roller here, that got bent. I straightened that out, welded all the cracks, put it back together. I have some new U-bolts for that too. Then the charging system wasn't working right, so I just had an alternator I put on it. It was cheap, like 50 bucks. So these are the steering brakes, and I already got this apart. See, this is a spring-loaded latch that locks into this quadrant here, and this one locks in, but the other side was worn. So you can see there's a notch here. This would come down. That locks it so that the travel dogs are engaged and the brakes are not applied. So when you pull back on it, this is supposed to ratchet and apply the brakes and release the travel dog. So as you can see, this is worn and it doesn't actually engage. See, it's rounded off there. So I'm just gonna, looks like they've welded this up in the past. So I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna build this up and grind it down. So it's got a nice edge. I might take the file and just make sure these edges are sharp. Probably even do that with the die grinder, whizzer wheel. And the other thing I want to also work on is this nut that somebody's been hitting with a chisel. That's the brake adjustment, which in some of my videos you can see the brake only works at the very end of the travel. So So that needs adjusted. So here's present day. This is the adjustment bolt for the brake band. I have both of these out. I'm going to make new adjusting nuts for them and lock nuts. And then you can see how worn. This is the the swing and travel clutches. They're worn. I got them relined. Did my normal sandblast paint lining. So I have one side completed currently. I have to pull the other side out yet to do it. But I do have both brakes out. Just here's a couple more photos of the machine from this year. So if you guys enjoy this, like, comment, subscribe. Anything I can do differently, anything you want to see, anything to help promote this channel. Trying to really make it grow. I know it's not really something everybody's interested in, but I try to do a little bit of everything. So thanks for watching.